Congrats to Liverpool,
Yeah,
crown champions.
with a few games to go, as we thought. What's surprising is, we said at the start of the season, and you weren't sure when I said Newcastle are going to make the top four. Well, I did sort of hope. Obviously, I hoped for it, but I didn't completely believe what I was saying because I was trying to be optimistic. I was thinking, maybe I'm sticking my neck out, as they say, to predict them to finish in the top four. But they're looking strong contenders. And then when you look at the table as it stands, after Liverpool, Newcastle have the most wins.
Jack, you had a long holiday.
I've been away, yeah. I've been
What do you
in the
mean?
sun.
European tour, 3 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. I've been all over the place, but nice to be back home in Cyprus and looking forward to talking about football again because we've got lots to talk about.
It's better than Scotland and the Highlands and Mallorca.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think it is. Yeah, Cyprus is great. Yeah, we like Cyprus. Yeah, it's all good.
Okay, congrats to Liverpool,
Yeah,
crown champions.
with a few games to go, as we thought.
Yeah, actually, Liverpool will probably finish with the lowest point tally. We were thinking that in the last few years, in order to win the Premier League, that you had to get close to 100 points.
Yeah.
And Liverpool is 82 points.
Yeah. What's the maximum they can get? There's 4 more games, isn't there? So
And 4 more games.
they get
yes.
94 if they win all of them. Yeah, I mean, that's...
I think Arsenal lost it with 98, 97.
Yeah, I think Liverpool did as well, didn't they? Against
Liverpool,
Man City.
yeah,
It was really
yeah,
close.
yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll see. And they played really well against Spurs, but they're sort of not been that good for a few weeks, Liverpool, really. I mean, they're still getting the wins, but then the performance has not been the best.
No, yes, you're right. But they managed to win it.
it.
Yeah, they did it. Big celebration.
Yeah, crazy celebrations
Yes.
all over the whole, well, half of Liverpool, but it felt like the whole of Liverpool because everyone turned up, didn't they?
Yeah. That Geisha Zone, we already discussed it in previous episodes.
Officially finished.
This year, every time we come here, I think we spend more time discussing who is going to qualify for the Champions League.
Well, that seems to be the only thing that's interesting, really.
Yes,
and close.
And there's because these teams are so close. Okay, apart from Arsenal with 67 points, in third place your team Newcastle now with 62 points. Man City 61, Chelsea 60, Nottingham Forest they dropped down to 60 points. With they have a game in hand, so they might go in the third place with 63 if they manage to win that match, and Aston Villa with 57. So this with 4 matches to go. From Newcastle to Aston Villa, everything to play for.
Yeah, I think it's 5 points difference. So it's not anybody can get in and out of there. And we've seen teams like Villa blew Newcastle away, they thrashed them, and then they had that bad result in the cup, and then Newcastle, up and down. I mean, the results have been good, but that Villa game was a bad defeat, and then they responded by beating Ipswich 3-0. So I think teams here and there, there's lots to play for because the results can be quite inconsistent around this time of year as well.
With the Villa game, I think it was you could see it from the first, from the kickoff, that they were really pumped up, the Villa players, and as soon as they went up, one up in front, the psychology shifted, and it was more, you felt from the first few minutes that it was going to be only one winner.
Yeah, that happens a lot at Newcastle when they're at home, but and Villa particularly are strong at home.
Yeah.
So I did fear the worst when that game started, and they seem really up for it.
Okay. Yeah, but you are the last few matches, you were up for it, Newcastle, and it might happen.
What's surprising is, we said at the start of the season, you weren't sure when I said Newcastle are going to make the top 4. Well, I did sort of hope. Obviously, I hoped for it, but I didn't completely believe what I was saying because I was trying to be optimistic. I was thinking, oh, maybe I'm sticking my neck out, as they say, to predict them to finish in the top four. But they're looking strong contenders. And then when you look at the table as it stands, after Liverpool, Newcastle have the most wins behind Liverpool. They have more than Arsenal now. They have 19 wins. Arsenal only got 18. Man City only got 18 as well. And that's surprising. I mean, it's because there's only been a few draws, the 5 draws, 10 defeats. But that's really impressive, 19 wins. If the season finishes now, that's half, that's half of the 38 games that they've won. That's pretty impressive.
If Newcastle qualifies for the Champions League and with the cup win, it's a major success.
Fantastic season, yeah. Fantastic season.
So, do you think... of course, we have the FA Cup as well.
Yeah.
Do you think Nottingham Forest, they are, I don't know, they're showing signs of tiredness?
Maybe, and the pressure's getting to them. I don't know. There could be lots of reasons. I mean, they've been punching well above their weight all season. They've done so well to keep it going this long, into the season.
Yeah.
I mean, a bit like what we kept saying about Leicester years ago. They kept it going. They've had a fantastic season. I think it could go either way, couldn't it? That could be that FA Cup semi-final not thrashing, but they lost 2-0. It was just disappointing defeat for them. We'll probably get onto the game, but that could lead to them having a poor run, or they could respond and bounce back. The manager's obviously going to try and G them up and say, right, that's happened now, that's done, we're out the cup, but we can just focus now on the league and try and get that top 5 position, because that's what could help them. They're, with the 5 positions instead of 4 for the Champions League. I mean, it would be disappointing for them now if they dropped out of it altogether. Even if they got Europa League, that would be disappointing, I think, based on they've been up there the whole time. They've got that game in hand. If they win that, they're back into 3rd, aren't they, where they've been most of the season.
Yes.
So
yes.
I think that's crucial, and that will give them, how that game goes, I don't know, but it will give them the confidence to, if they win that one, to give them the confidence to carry on, stay where we are, stay in the 3rd. Obviously, as a Newcastle fan, I don't want them to win that game, but if I'd like to see any other team apart from Newcastle get it, I want Forest to get it.
On the other hand, if they don't win that match in hand, then the psychology will shift.
Yeah, it might, because they're chasing again. They don't want to be the chasers. They want to be in that position, don't they? And with a few games to go, it's all to play for. So
exactly,
let's see how they get on in that one.
Exactly.
But it's been a great season for them. I really hope as like a neutral on that, in that sense, that they do it, because I don't want to see Man City and Chelsea and all the usual teams in it. It's been great seeing Villa in it this season. It was great seeing Newcastle in it last time, and it'll be great to see Forest next season, hopefully, in the Champions League.
And what about the 2 FA Cup matches? Did you expect Crystal Palace to win 3-0?
What a surprise. I bet you were surprised. 3-0.
I was expecting Aston Villa Man City final, to be honest.
Yeah. I think most people were. And it was, I watched it, and then I watched it back again, because what was really impressive from Palace was the tempo. They have so much pace in attack. They've got Sarr, he's got so much pace. They've got Eze, he's got skill and pace. They've got Mateta, who's chasing down from the front. It's quite impressive to see. It's almost like a Klopp team of a few years ago. It's that high press that everybody seems to be talking about, but that they were playing, they were just, I don't know, they didn't have any time on the ball, any of the Villa back line, did they? And it was just
blew them
away.
Very athletic team.
Very athletic.
Yeah.
And that could cause Man City a lot of problems, as they did earlier on in the season.
Yeah, it's a final. I think anything can happen. In a final, FA Cup in England, a lot of times the underdog, they won the cup. So
I mean, Villa, big missed opportunity for them, isn't it? Because they're out of the Champions League. Obviously, they lost to PSG, and now out of the cup, and they're going for the Champions League. They're a few points off, but they're still close. That's a big one for them to lose that. That'd be so disappointing.
Definitely. And
good for Palace, though. Great to see them back in they've never won the FA Cup. They've never won anything major in their history. So it's tough, but they got a chance. It's like I say, it's just one-off match.
Crystal Palace, probably the last time they were in the FA Cup was back in 92.
No, it was against Man United. Remember when Lingard scored? 2015. I think it was 2015.
2015, they were again.
Jesse Lingard scored the winner for Man United. But apart from that, it was Man United again, wasn't it?
Yeah,
in the 90s.
Yeah.
So it's Man City this time.
You know, it was in the replay, if you remember.
Yeah.
Jim Layton in the goal, and then
I don't remember because I'm too young, Nicos, but I do
Yes,
remember
yes,
watching I do remember watching the highlights of it.
and yes, and I'm getting old, so I've had too many dead cells in my brain. So,
So you forgot that final, but I remember it because it went viral because the Palace manager, when they scored, Pardew was doing like a little dance on the side of the pitch, and it was quite funny.
Actually, it was the end of Jim Layton with Man United.
Yeah, you remember that
and
one.
then Silly, let's see, played in the replay and managed to win, and that was the beginning of the Fergie era, basically.
Yeah, the 90s where they won everything pretty much.
Yes.
Yeah, in the 90s. Yeah, so what Man City, you'd have expected them to beat Forest the way the form has been, maybe not over this whole season, but Man City seem to have turned it around, haven't they, in terms of their performances mostly?
They are more
in the league, they're more stable.
Yeah, more stable in what they are doing, but you never know. In the final, as we say,
I think most of the country, most of the world probably will be
Crystal
on
Palace.
Crystal Palace's side. I know you definitely will be anyway, but I think we all are. Anyone who's not a Man City fan wants Palace to do it.
Yeah. So this weekend we have Aston Villa, Fulham, Everton, Ipswich, Leicester, Southampton, Arsenal and Bournemouth, and Brentford, Man United, Brighton, Newcastle. Tough one.
That's a tough one. Always tough at Brighton.
West Ham, Tottenham, and Chelsea, Liverpool.
That's a good one.
So what do you think it would be? With Liverpool, by the way, I have Tsimikas, the first Greek player to win the Premier League.
Yeah, so that's good. That's good for him, and he's done well. He's obviously a stand-in for Andy Robertson. Doesn't play all the games, does he? But he plays mostly European matches.
Probably his last year with. Well, this is what they are saying.
He's done well to make it to Liverpool, hasn't he? Any player,
definitely
from somewhere like Greece, and Greece haven't been that successful, have they, internationally? Really, apart from that, for a long time, apart from that famous Euro win. So for him to go from the Greek league
but there were some Greek players with Inter Milan. But they played some in Scotland. The centre forward, what's his name? George
Samaras. Yeah, back in the day. Yeah, Samaras. I mean, this is a while ago, but there's some good promising.
Karagounis with Inter Milan.
Yeah, Karagounis.
There are some players.
They had some fantastic players.
Yes.
They maybe this, seeing the,
but not in the Premier League. We don't have many players in the Premier League.
But if there'll be pictures somewhere, won't there, of Tsimikas holding the Premier League trophy, or the Greek player holding the Premier League trophy. That should inspire a lot of Greek young players. This is what you can achieve.
Yeah, in order to get there, you need a bit of luck. You need
they need the facilities as well, and the infrastructure and the support.
A lot of things. Yes,
but,
because there is talent.
There's talent there.
There is talent in Greece. It's just to nurture them to go to the next level.
And obviously they beat England, didn't they, at Wembley recently, Greece as well. Yes. So that was a good one for Greece. So.
We don't want to get there with the national team.
Who knows?
Another thing that happened was Wrexham. Back to back, the only team that
back to back.
Yes, I didn't know that, but it's the only team that have done it, to come from non-league to go to the championship, and now they're looks that they want more.
Because we were saying before when we talked about Wrexham, like, where is the ceiling? How high can they go?
Yeah.
So next season in the championship, that's tough. I mean, no, I don't think it's going to happen. It would be a miracle if it did. If they went up again, I mean, that would be incredible. But I can't see that happening. They have to try and sort of aim to stay up, don't they, and stabilise and become a regular championship club for a few seasons, and then maybe take the next step.
Yeah, unless they invest in the squad.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much money they've got.
They were supposed to invest in the stadium, and they still have this makeshift stand behind the goal. So, but it's good for the town.
It's good for part of the country in Wales to have a team in the
with
top.
High unemployment, with a lot of problems, and it's good. And these two Hollywood stars, they came in like they just uplifted the whole area. And not only that, it's just that it looks that they started having a following from outside the UK as well.
Yeah, I mean they're big in the US and they watch the
Yeah.
games and everything, and they have all the shirts. And one thing is, I think they're not going to sign just average players. They will sign some good players. They might have to be clever. They might have to get free transfers. They might get people on
Like
loan.
the keeper, they got him from Arsenal,
Yeah, exactly.
which looks like a decent keeper.
And they got players like Stephen Fletcher, who's older but he's got quality. He's used to playing in the higher division.
They have a mixture of
And
experienced
Jay Rodriguez as well.
have a mixture of experienced players with younger, but now it's a different kettle of fish.
It is, and it's credit to their manager, because you can have all the money, can't you? We always say this, a lot of fans will say, "Oh, they bought their way to it. They paid the money, and they're Hollywood. That's why they've gone up." And I don't like them. That's one part of it, but the other side is the manager. He has the money at his disposal. He has all these players, really good players for that level, but you still have to get the team together as a unit to go up. So credit to him for that. Phil Parkinson.
Definitely, I agree with you. It's not just the money, because we have seen a lot of clubs around the globe with a lot of money and the poor recruitment policy, and they get nowhere. But now, because as you and I know, a championship is really tough league, really tough league. So it's as you mentioned, if they manage to stay up and maybe finish in the middle of the table, and then take it from there, it would be really a huge achievement.
Yeah. And also keep an eye on Birmingham City as well, because they're on for the record points tally.
Yes,
for
exactly. Yes.
the top four divisions.
And it's a big club, and so it's coming back to
one.
because and of course Leeds coming back to the Premier
Leeds,
League.
all the celebrations with Leeds, similar to Liverpool in a way.
Another big club, another
huge club.
Yes.
When I was in Mallorca, all I saw was Leeds fans. They were everywhere. They were just on the resort. They just seem to get everywhere, Leeds fans. So and they're very noisy and they're very passionate about their club. So their partying will be as big and almost as big as Liverpool.
Yes. So, but this time they need to manage to stay up in the Premier League and then take it from there.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult, isn't it? Because we saw how difficult it is this season for those promoted teams. They were nowhere near staying up in the end. It was a long way off. It was such a shame, really. They didn't even put up a fight.
And that's why, for me, it was one of the, it was a really boring season in the Premier League. For if you ask me.
Yeah, from the top and the bottom.
Yes, because from you could see the trend. You could see that that what was happening. You could feel it that it was maybe from December on, that you expected Liverpool to win it. Even though when the season started, my main concern was that they didn't buy any players, and maybe it could show at the end of the season the tiredness. And but that's another thing that I always say: you need to start the season strong in any league. If you get the points early in the season, and then you got the psychology changes, you get the head start, and even though I expected Arsenal to compete until the end, it was really disappointing for them once again.
They keep falling away, and it's just it's a familiar story, but it could still be an amazing season for Arsenal, isn't it? Couldn't it? Because they're in the Champions League semi-finals.
Yes,
unbelievable. 2 legs against Real Madrid, especially that first leg, incredible. So that there's lots of interesting things. You've still got Chelsea in the Conference League, but they're sort of in and around the Champions League places in the league. You've got obviously Newcastle winning the League Cup, historic, and then you've got Arsenal in the Champions League. They've never won the European Cup, so that's interesting to still find out what's going to happen there. Beating Real Madrid, not many people would have expected that, although they've been in some bad form recently, Real Madrid. And then you've got Tottenham and Man United in the semi-finals of the Europa League, could meet in the final. I mean, it's tough because you've got Bilbao, but So there's lots, not just the, we say about the league, yes, the relegation zone is all sorted. The champions sorted a long time ago, but there's a lot of European things now that developed.
Yes.
That made it really interesting for the
Yes.
British clubs.
Yes, definitely.
So I want to keep an eye
So
on
now
that.
with the coefficient,
Yeah.
if United win it, we're going to have 6 teams in the Champions League.
It could be the case, yeah. So there'll still be the top 5 will get the Champions League places in the league,
Yeah.
plus Man United. So
Yeah.
there'll be 6 in the
There'll be
Champions League.
6 in the Champions League.
Yeah,
That would be interesting.
that would be interesting. Yeah, how they figure that out. But
Or Tottenham.
well, look, you've got a tough one, haven't you? Because you've got
I mean,
Bilbao.
they went one in front yesterday against Liverpool.
Oh, I know.
There's okay, maybe the nerves and everything, the whole festivity.
It was like a trick.
Yeah. and then it's amazing what is happening. I mean, especially with I thought that they were going to take it to the next level from what we have seen last year from Spurs, and this year has been exactly the opposite.
Oh, Spurs. I suppose it could be that one of their most successful seasons ever because of winning the Europa League and getting into the Champions League that way, but it could be one of their worst seasons ever at the same time for the league position.
Yes.
It's actually, I was thinking about this when I was looking at the table. We say about the relegated teams. If it was a normal Premier League season from about 10 years ago, when it was really competitive with the teams coming up and there wasn't a big gap, Man United, Tottenham, West Ham, these teams would be in trouble because there wouldn't be that big gap.
Yes.
But luckily for them, they've just been so terrible.
I agree with you.
It's really strange, isn't it? But
yes.
fortunate in that sense.
Or what we might see is that Spurs winning the Europa League and 2 hours later, Postecoglou to be sacked.
Yeah. I think he's.
Are you going to be surprised with?
I wouldn't be surprised
with Levy.
I know, I wouldn't be surprised. And he's quite a character, isn't he? In his press conferences, he just says, "Look, you're going to have to." You're going to have to put up with me for a little bit longer now because we won this quarterfinal. I'm going to stick around for a little bit longer. I think he thinks he's probably going to leave, whatever happens.
Yeah,
he's going to be gone.
I think so. Yes. Well, I mean, usually the Tottenham fans go against Daniel Levy. This year we have seen that they turn against Postecoglou as well.
They're absolutely shocking in the league. I mean, getting stuffed. I mean, Liverpool are a good team, but getting stuffed by Liverpool, it's just that's not where they want to be. They want to be competing, don't they? They want to be competing.
I think what they are paying is what Man United are paying the price of not having a recognized centre forward.
Yeah,
you need someone up front to score your 20 goals, 15, 20 goals.
Because apart from that Bournemouth game, they said Højlund hadn't scored in the league for 2 months or something, 2.5 months. I don't know if that's true, but that's shocking. I couldn't believe how long it was when they said.
No,
it's a massive goal drought.
I mean, after so many matches, the conclusion is that he's not up to the Premier League standards.
Yeah.
Of course, it's not fair because there was no recognized centre forward, but his movement, I don't know. This is okay. We're going to discuss Man United next year when we see what is going to happen, because everybody knew there was a transitional period this year. But okay, we have plenty to discuss when we get there.
Yeah,
and I think we'll close it here and see what's going to happen with the European matches midweek.
Yeah,
a very critical period for the Champions League and the Europa League.